we said that there were two other countries, two other European countries that came over. And I've been told this is too stifled again, so just while I'm doing these notes, I'm going to take this off and stay way back. Two other countries that were also coming over from Europe, again, trying to get a piece of this new world. And they were the Dutch who came in around what's now the New York area. And again, like I said yesterday, don't take these red lines, which are the current demarcations between the states. That wasn't there then. Okay, so New York might be different. Remember, Virginia was all the way over here for a while. So up in the general area of where New York City is, they called their colony New Netherlands, and the city was called New Amsterdam, what's now become New York City. To the south of them, somewhere in the New Jersey area, the Swedes came over, and they, in a fit of originality, named their colony New Sweden. And we said this Peter Stuyvesant guy, this obnoxious, really horrible, awful governor of New Netherlands, he just alienated everyone. It's called Old Silvernails because of the silver nails that held his wooden leg on. He was the Dutch governor, and when it came time for the English to say, hey, we want to get rid of these guys, none of the Dutch people would fight for Peter Stuyvesant. They surrendered without a fight. But before that happened, and let me go back and just mention Peter Minuit, who years before had bought Manhattan Island from the Dutch, or excuse me, from the natives, for about $24 worth of stuff. But there was that other country, Sweden, down there. And in Sweden, they had a big sucker. Their governor was named Johan Prince, and his nickname was Big Tub. He was 7 feet tall and 400 pounds. Now, Daniel, how tall are you?
5 foot.
Okay. Come on up here.
I'm 5'5".
Okay. Daniel is actually tall for a colonial person. They were closer to 5'4", so this would be a full-size man.
My height?
George, you're 5'4"?
Yeah.
You're fired. Come on up.
Yeah.
Okay, go back on.
You're fired. I have to go.
Okay.
Somebody job, boy.
All right. So you're 5'4". Cool. Good. Here's a full-grown colonial man. I'm just a hair taller than what George Washington was. And George Washington was just a giant of a man back in that day. And Johan Prince was about 10 inches taller than you. So Johan Prince was here in a world of this. Thanks, buddy. Thanks, buddy.
Hey,
Okay, so
fine.
he was an amazingly large guy, but the Swedes, they didn't last very long because the Dutch said, wait a second, we have the English up here, and now the Swedes are right south of us. That means we just got this little tiny slice. We want more than that. And so the Dutch went down and they militarily kicked the Swedish off of the New World, and the Swedes did not come back. But they left a legacy. Anybody know what a legacy is?
Yeah.
What's a legacy? James.
It's like, isn't it like his son?
A son can be a legacy, but it's got a little broader meaning than that.
Kind of like what you stand for?
No, not quite.
Reputation.
Not quite.
What you're famous for.
You're very, very, very close.
Like what they left behind and what their generation did.
What they left behind, what other generations remember them for. And what we remember the Swedes for was when they came here, they built their houses just exactly like they did back in Sweden, which was log cabins. And when you think of America, Abraham Lincoln and several other presidents, what do you think of? Growing up in a log cabin. When you think of the frontier, building log cabins, that's a big part of our American heritage, and that came from Sweden. That was Sweden's legacy to us. They weren't here very long. They weren't even here when the United States was around. They were kicked off way before that. But they left that legacy of log cabins. So the Dutch kicked the Swedes out. Yes, Bob? What? Johan Prince, the governor of New Sweden.
No, it's not.
All right. The Dutch are kicked out in 1664. The British send a small naval fleet up there, just a few ships, and it's enough to say, wow, we should fight. Peter Stuyvesant says, let's go, we'll fight every man, Jack. We'll never surrender. And the people go, nah, no. We'd actually rather be English than have you around anymore because you're such a horrible human being. So they wouldn't fight for them. The Dutch surrendered without a shot. And now the British own all of this. What had been the area controlled by the Netherlands, what had been the area controlled by Sweden. A few things left from that. Syracuse athletic teams. Anybody know what they are? Anybody know their nickname? See, we're the Orangemen. I guess now that it's the Orange. One of the provinces in the Netherlands is Orange. Ever heard of William and Mary? Boy, we got so much to do. All right. Yes, ma'am? What? I refuse to give you a definition of a log cabin.
Legacy.
What's a legacy? Something left behind by which people are remembered, and for which people are remembered. All right, so the Dutch and the Swedes are kicked out. The British have this now, and the king says, yeah, I'm going to give this to my brother-in-law, to my brother, as a proprietorship. I'll let him make some money from this. So he gives it to James, Duke of York. And the Duke of York, in a fit of modesty, he names this part, he splits it into two. This part he names New York after himself. And he also happened to be the Duke of Jersey, so he named this part New Jersey also after himself. And here's the cool part. Freedom of religion starts to pop up a little bit more. We'll talk about that. Pennsylvania really gets it going, but just the idea that we can have a little bit of freedom, a little bit, we won't worry about the Catholics and the Anglicans killing each other anymore. And representative government is established, just like it had been in Virginia. James doesn't really want to spend a lot of time running the colony. He just wants to make money from it, so the colonists are allowed to do a lot of the running of the colony by themselves. Okay, cool. Any questions about this? Y'all ready for Thursday's test?
Yeah.
Okay, remember what I said last time about taking a test? Make sure the kids at home can hear me again. Sorry. Make sure what I said last time about taking a test. I said the first thing you want to do is go back through your notes. Let's take a look and say, all right, what are the big things? Because big things could be essays. And I want to think about that and how I would organize my explanation of that big thing. Then you go through and you say, all right, on a test, there may be some lists. Do I have any lists in here? Like the reasons a mother country would create a colony. That was in the last one, but are there any little lists here? Maybe I better know what the list is. Vocabulary words. Did we put the asterisk up there and have any vocabulary words? Know the definition of those. Only confederation has to be exactly my definition, but they do have to be accurate and complete for any definition you make up. What else do we need here? You know a lot of the points that are going to be on this test. You know you need an example of a specific person or persons doing a specific action. Put the finger on the person. If your answer says people, you already lost. If your answer says some guy, you already lost. Specific person or person doing a specific action. And remember, a specific action is not hope, think, feel, want, believe, desire. Those, no. If you say, I hope to fly to the moon, that's not the same as going to the moon. Going to the moon is an action. Hoping to go to the moon is not. So it needs to be a specific action motivated by land, by power, and religion. So I just gave you 3 questions, 3 examples. So now you have 3 big questions from your test. What else have you got? You got 9 days. I just gave you 9 more questions on your test. You now have 12 of the questions on your test. Let's see, what else will I give you? Oh, I said you had to know the first 7 colonies. You have Virginia, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New Hampshire, New York, New Jersey. So So you now have 7. You need to know how to spell them. You need to have them memorized. So, wow, I gave you 7 of those, 9 dates, that's 16 questions, and the 3 examples. And I'm going to ask you about land, power, and religion. Actually, there's 46 questions there, so that was 17. 23 questions on this test I've already given to you. So if you come in and say, oh, geez, what's an example? Boy, are you wasting time that you should already have those answers at your fingertips. All right, cool. Any other questions? Are you going ninja on me or something? Is that what got the blood going? Okay, all right.
I can still see you.
The important thing is we can't see you.
Yeah.
All right. Cha-cha, you may shut that thing down. People, give me just a second. People at home, I'm going to send you the link to the Kahoot, but you can't do it. We're not